This is the latest on Thomas Partey. So when Fabrizio confirms, or someone like a David Johnson confirms, that it's serious. So Fabrizio says, understand there's concrete chance for Thomas Partey to leave Arsenal this summer. Clubs are interested in their discussions about his exit. Current contract expiring in June 2025, and no talks to extend as of today. Arsenal priority remains Declan Rice. So that is the first thing that would be surprising to me, because his contract is not ending anytime soon. It's up until 2025. I think right now he's 30 or 31 years of age. This will take him to up to 33 years of age. I have no problem with him leaving Arsenal on a free when he's 33, like in 2025. I have no problem with him leaving on a free. But him leaving alongside Xhaka after such a good season with those three midfielders alongside Odegaard, that would be terrible, like losing all three of them in the same transfer window. And even if they are going to be replaced, let's say Rice replaces Partey, then who replaces Xhaka? Then Havertz, I don't think Havertz can replace Xhaka. Havertz is more an attacking player. So Xhaka does a lot for a team, left back, like covering left back. Sometimes he even plays the centre back when needed. Like, it does a lot. So Havertz cannot really replace him. And on top of that, Lokonga could also be leaving Arsenal. So all of a sudden you're losing like 3 or 4 midfielders if you add El-Neni to that as well. So you're not needing to buy 2 midfielders. You're going to need to buy 3 or 4 in the same transfer window. So Partey leaving the contract situation, that is why it's surprising. And also, he's not that old. 30, 31, he can still give you a couple of good seasons. And after such a good season, I know he drifted away in the final 2 months of the campaign, but he's still very good. He can still give you one good year. If you have to sell him, you can sell him next year when you can get 20 million for him or something. Next year when he has 1 year remaining on his contract. But right now, that would be disastrous, because I still feel like he's one of our best players, especially in that midfield with Odegaard and those guys. So losing him, I don't know. Our dream was to have Partey, Caicedo, and Rice. Are you telling me we could end up with only Rice? You know, you can't only eat rice. You also have to have meat and some greens on the side. So you definitely have to have someone like Apache, someone like that. Unless you have someone that you're going to replace him with, and I don't think there's too many players like that. Whenever we are talking about best midfielders in the league, defensive midfielders, they're always talking about Casemiro, Rodri, and Partey is usually on that list as well. So if you get rid of him right now, and how much are we even going to get for him? I don't think you're going to get that much money for him. Unless someone is going to come right now and say 50 million for Thomas Partey, then we can start considering. But even that is not enough to buy anyone else, because everyone is asking for 100 million for their players. So unless they come out from nowhere and say, you know what, no one said you're not going to get Caicedo, we're actually going to get Caicedo, then you'll be like, you know what, okay, we can understand that. If you're getting both Rice and Caicedo, if you're getting rid of Partey, that is fine. But even on top of that, I'd still have some doubt, because I still wanted him to remain as part of the Arsenal team. I've also had a few other content creators saying it's time to be ruthless. Get rid of players that you're not expecting to get rid of. Get rid of Tierney, get rid of Partey, get rid of Lokonga, get rid of Tavares. I know there's that, but you cannot get rid of your best players. You can get rid of Tavares, fine. You can get rid of Lokonga, fine. You can get rid of Nketiah, fine. You can get rid of Holding, fine. Some of you want Fabio to go. If he goes out on loan, I'd be like, okay, that is fine. But people, no. You have to keep your whole starting 11. As I said, next season for me, I'd just look for a replacement for Xhaka and someone else to help Ben White on the right side. I'd still start Ramsdale. I'd still start Zinchenko. I'd still start Gabriel. I'd still start Partey. Same with Odegaard. Same with Jesus. Same with Martial. Same with Saka. That was not our problem. Our problem was backup players and players to come in, and these players are tired or injured or suspended. That was our problem. We didn't really have anyone to compete with them. We are supposed to add competition, not replace our best players. You know, you have to keep your best players. And so far this window, to be fair to them, we've been able to keep most of our best players. Saliba signing a contract, Gabriel signed a contract, Odegaard talks on going as well, Saka signed a contract, Martinelli signed a contract recently, Smith Rowe's contract was not signed that long ago, Nelson is signing a contract, so I appreciate that. Ramsdale as well signed a contract, so I'm happy those players remaining, but I wouldn't be happy if like a Partey or Odegaard was leaving. If you're keeping Xhaka and you had to get rid of one of them, then I'd consider it. But losing both in the same transfer window after such a good season that we had with Xhaka and Partey and Odegaard, that would be disastrous. We haven't even talked about Jorginho. He could also leave. So we'll have no midfielders. We'll have to look for 2 or 3 midfielders. And I didn't really think we should have put ourselves in a position where we need to look for that many midfielders. We were supposed to add 3 or 4 players in this transfer window, add 2 midfielders, look for a backup for Saka. Some of you want a striker, that is fine. Or look for a backup for Saliba or fullback. 4-5 positions, that is it. Because if you get rid of Partey and Xhaka and Tierney and all these guys, then you're not looking for only 3 players. You're looking for 5 or 6. I mean, we don't know their plans. Maybe they do have a list of all those players to bring on or to bring into the team, but it's going to take time. You know, it's not easy to do these deals, because I'm sure in the comments already there are people asking, why is Rice taking that long? So if Rice is taking this long is our priority now, you know, the others will not be easy as well. You're going to take time to get all these players through the door. And we wanted to get at least 70% of our deals done before preseason, so that those players are in. So Partey, unfortunately, there's talks about him leaving. The other day we were told about the players or the teams that were linked to him. This was from a couple of days ago. Could be keen to offload him if they get a deal for Moises Caicedo over the line, but we are not going to get Caicedo. So there's that. So what is the plan? There has been disappointment at Arsenal that Partey dominated matches for 2/3 of the past season, then regressed it to his performance levels of the previous 2 campaigns, says Gary Jacob from a couple of days ago. I agree that when I did the player ratings for the season, I said the player that I was most annoyed with at the end of the campaign was Partey, because I was expecting a lot from him. He had already made me happy this one because he never really got injured, and I really expected a lot from him. And that West Ham game away where he gave the ball to Rice and a couple of other poor performances to the point where he was dropped for Jorginho to come on, I was disappointed. But if you're looking at that, then we are going to sell everyone, because Odegaard himself, one of my favorite players, he still made a couple of mistakes. Ramsdale still gave away a goal against Southampton. Zinchenko made a mistake against Liverpool. That is how we consider the equalizer. Other players made mistakes too. It's not just Partey. And Saka, he went out of form as well. Jesus was missing chances in the final few games. The only player who stayed consistent for all those games was maybe Martinelli and maybe a couple of others. Ramsdale maybe just that one game, but others he was okay. But I think Martinelli is the only one that was just consistent against Liverpool away. Home games against Crystal Palace, he kept on performing well. So you can't really say because Partey didn't play well at the end, it's only time to get rid of him. Now they might look at it like, you know, he's the only experienced player. Saka is young. Partey is over 30 years of age. We're expecting more from him. That is fine. But selling him at this point, unless you're getting really good money, and everyone is asking for 60, 70 million for their players, unless you're getting 50 or 60 million for Thomas Partey right now, which I doubt, unless you're taking him to something like a Saudi Arabia or something where you're not going to see him and he's not going to compete against us, and if for 60 million, then maybe, but then you're not going to sell Partey and Xhaka unless you get replacements fast. And that is why you've not gotten rid of Xhaka yet, because you're waiting to get the Declan Rice deal done. So I'd not be happy if we lost Xhaka and Partey in the same window, despite people saying it's time to be ruthless. You can be ruthless without getting rid of Partey. Like, we can't get rid of that many players, not at all. And on top of that as well, I mean, Partey signed in, was it 2020, right? He was signed in 2020, so he was still signed by Mikel Arteta. So the others that were not signed by Mikel Arteta, like Pepe, I understand them leaving, but people like Partey, he needs to stay in the team, and like he's one of our best players, even if he has a poor performance. That is why we want to add players like Rice, so that if Partey doesn't play well, you can take him to the bench and bring on Rice or start Rice for a couple of games. But selling Partey, then you still need to get Rice and a backup for Rice. So for me, I needed 2 midfielders and then you sort out the other positions. But if you sell Xhaka and you sell Partey, 2 of probably your best players last season as well, alongside the likes of Odegaard, Saka, they are very good. For like 7 out of the 9 months, they are very good. Xhaka, Partey, and Odegaard in midfield. So I don't really see the reason of getting rid of them unless we are going to get 60 or 70 million or something like that, which I doubt.